morning, participants. Today we will be continuing our discussion about decimals, and we will be discussing about adding and subtracting decimal fractions. We know how to add and subtract fractions, but addition and subtraction of decimal fractions is much easier than addition and subtraction of fractions, because of a very definite reason, and that reason is that addition and subtraction is very easy with place value. So since we have converted fractions into decimal fractions using place value, now addition and subtraction becomes very easy. So let us begin with a little bit of revision as usual. Remember, we had in the last 3 sessions on decimals, we had made place value equipment in different ways. Let me just revise those. We had taken this as our 1, and by cutting it into 10 parts, so this became our 1 by 10, and going forward, this paper 1 by 10 is a little difficult to handle, so I've taken a rod, a broomstick rod, which is about the same length and the same breadth, and this is much easier to handle. So in our discussion, now this also will be 1 by 10 for this discussion. So if that was 1, then we know that we put 1 plus 1 10 times, and this becomes our 10. And we put 10 of these 10s together, 10 plus 10, 10 times, and what we get is this area which represents 100. So these are the hundreds, the tens, the ones, 1 by 10s. Recall, we also made the decimal kit in a different way. We made cards, 1 card for 100, a card for 10, a card for 1, a card for 1 by 10, and so on, a card for 1 by 100. So we can also make decimal fractions using these cards. And we wrote decimal fractions in houses in this way, and in the last but one session we also learned how to write numerals, how to write decimals in numerals without writing the names of each house, by putting a decimal point to show which is the house of ones. Of course, we have to be a little bit careful while working with decimal point, and why we will discuss now by doing one example. I welcome today in our session Jnanjyoti and Nandita, and the first problem is to Nandita. Nandita, can you place this number, which I'm writing now, I want you to place cards in the houses. This is the house of 1 by 10. So what we have placed is the short form. Please place this number in this form. Okay? All right. Nanjoti, next problem is to you. Place this in the houses in front of you. There's something more in the houses from the last problem. So now you have placed 20 in the house of ones. That is a loose form. Can you convert it into a tight form and place it? Okay, and can you write this loose form now in the tight form? Okay, that's right. Now, the next problem is for Nandita. Nandita, place this. You don't have enough. Okay. Then just write this in the tight form. Write this in the tight form. Okay. So this is all revision. We know that when we have 20 in a house, we take 10 of them together, so it becomes 1 in the house, the higher house. So 20 becomes 2. So this 21 becomes 2 in the house of hundreds. 21 in the house of 10 becomes 2 in the house of hundreds, and 1 remains in the house of tens. So we know that 10 in a house becomes 1 in the higher house. So this 21 becomes 2 tens, but this is the house of tens. So 10 tens is 100. It becomes 2 hundreds and 1 10. So it becomes 210. Of course, here I can put a 0. all this is just revision. But now let me come to the point where we have to be careful. Can you tell me, by looking, Nanjoti, look at this number. Can you tell me how many rupees this is?
$21.
How many 1 rupees are there?
10.
10. How many 10 rupees are there?
2.
So in total, how many rupees is it?
210.
Is it 210? It looks like 210. But 2 in the house of tens is how many rupees?
20.
And 10 in the house of ones is how many rupees?
10.
So put together, how many rupees is that?
30.
30. Okay? This is revision. Let's do one more just to make sure that we know what we are doing. Nandita, how much is this?
35.
35. Okay, one more just for practice. Gyanjoti?
40.
40. Okay. So when we write the houses and we write the numerals in the houses, we know how much money it is. We know what is that number, what is the tight form of that number, and we can write the tight form. Now, this is a problem to both of you. We know how to write this when we have written the houses. But if I want to write this, that is 2 tens and 10 ones, without writing the names of the houses, I don't want to write 30. 30 is the tight form. I don't want you to write the tight form. I want you to write the long form without writing the names of the houses. Can you write? Can you think and write about it? You have written the long form, the extended form, but when you write 10 and 1, you have given the names of the houses. Okay? Can you write this number here without writing the... Can you write this number without writing the names of the houses? Two plus 10. What is 2 plus 10?
30.
2 plus 10 is 30. 2 plus 10 is
12.
12. So it can't be 2 plus 10. What you have written is 20 plus 10. Yeah, that is something which is equal to this number. But without putting plus signs, multiplication signs, it is difficult to represent this number. But when I give the names of the houses, then it is very clear. Okay? So now, let me ask you to write this number, rather make this number. Okay? And you have to write this number without writing the names of the houses. You can use a decimal point if you want. You have written 2.1. That's correct. But since this is in the house of 1 by 10s, why can't we write it as 0.21? Because if I have, let's say, 8 in the house of 1 by 10s, I write that as 0.8.
If we write 0.21, then the 1 will go into 1 upon 100th house.
Into the house of
It
hundreds.
won't stay in 1 upon 10s.
Right. When we write 0.21, in this form, only the house, the numeral next to the decimal point is in the house of 1 by 10s. This numeral is not in the house of 1 by 10s, it is in the house of 1 by hundreds. Okay? So it's difficult to write this loose form unless I write the names of the houses. If I use a decimal point and I write 0.21, then I am not representing correctly. Okay? So the moral of the story, the moral of this entire exercise is, when doing decimals, it's very easy if you write the names of the houses. So we will use this going ahead to do addition and subtraction. But before doing addition and subtraction with decimal fractions, let us just do addition and subtraction of integers using place value. That is a revision. So the first problem is, take 7 in the house of ones. You can place it in the house of ones. And now place 7 more in the house of ones. Place 7 more. Just count how many you have now in the house of ones. Okay, so keep those in the house of ones. So you put 7 first and 7 more, and you got, when you added them, you got 14 in the house of ones. Write that form. What you have done, write that. Write what you have got. Okay, so Gyan Jyoti has written what is there in the houses. What have you done, Nandita?
I have exchanged 10 ones for 1 10.
But it's not there.
No.
You've gone further.
Yes.
Okay. If I ask you to write what is there, it will be just 14 in the house of ones, right? But that is the which form?
Loose form.
Loose form. And I can convert that into a tight form. What is the tight form?
14. 1 10s and 4 units.
1 10 and 4 ones. Okay. All right. Now I want you to do the same problem with 7 tens added to 7 tens. Nandita? We have to add 7 more tens. Okay, that is the loose form. And what is the tight form? So you took 10 tens and you replaced it by 100 and 4 tens. Okay. Let's do the earlier problem. 7 plus 7. Again, keep that. That is the loose form. And what is the tight form? So 14 ones becomes 110 and 4 ones. Okay. Now the next problem, Gyan Jyoti, is can you place that in the houses? What have you placed in the house of 1 by 10?
7 plus 7.
7 of what?
7 by 10.
7 of
1 by 10.
1 by 10
plus
plus
7 of 1 by 10.
So how many, what did you get?
14 by 10.
14 of 1 by 10, right? What form is that?
Loose form.
Okay, so what is the tight form of that? And what will come in the house of ones?
1.
Place it. Okay. So now, tell me what you have in the house of hundreds,
0.
in the house of tens,
0.
house of ones,
1.
house of 1 by tens,
4.
House of 1 by hundreds?
0.
0. Can you write that using decimal points? .4. Okay. So now let's write down like this on the slate. And on this slate, we will write the loose form. On the other slate, we will write the tight form. Okay? So the first problem is this problem. Write the answer in the loose form. So 7 1 by 10s plus 7 1 by 10s is 14 1 by 10. So this is your answer in the loose form. On the other slate, write the answer in the tight form. Okay, so show the loose form first and show the tight form. Fine. Now the next problem, don't write the problem. I'm going to write the problem. You write the answer in the loose form and also the answer in the tight form. The next problem is this. Do it mentally. Write the answer in your houses in the loose form. And also in the tight form on the other side. So what is that number? 15. Okay, now the next problem, again don't write the problem, just write the answer. So, what is that number?
13.
13 in which house?
10.
So, what is that number? 13 in the house of tens is what number?
130.
130. So, show the tight form. That's right. So, you have how many hundreds?
1.
And how many tens?
3.
3. So that is 130. Okay. So now I'm going to give you a problem where again I've just changed the numbers. that is what you're showing is the loose form, and show the tight form. Okay. Now can you write this problem not in the houses but using a decimal point on a fresh slate? Keep that slate there and write this problem so what is this number
7.
in the house of?
1 by 10.
How will you write it using a decimal point?
0.7.
Write it. So 0.7 plus 0.6, and what is the answer that you get?
1.2.
1.3. Okay? So actually you get 13 in the house of 1 by 10s, but when you're not writing houses, if you can't write 13 there, because after the decimal point, if I write 13, that 3 will appear to be in the house of 1 by hundreds. So you write it as 1.3, you write it in the tight form. So now, do we see that addition is just like any addition? It is just like adding integers. So now let's do the next problem. The next problem is this. You have to write it. First do it when I'm writing it in the houses. Write it in the houses. Look at this problem. Write the answer first in the houses. In that. Okay. That's the answer in the house of, in loose form. Write that in tight form. Show the tight form. Okay. So now, can you write the problem which I gave you? Write this using decimal points. You will get 13 in the house of 1 by hundreds, which will become, when I take 13 in the house of 1 by hundreds and write it in the tight form, what will remain here?
3.
And what will come here?
1.
1. So show me what you've written now in the tight form. First show me the other side. The other side of your slate. The other side, what you wrote on that side. Not that slide. The other side, what you wrote. Oh, there's nothing there. All right. So this here is, just show your slate. Show it to me. 0.07, that's correct. Second one is 0.06, that's correct, right? So now, instead of using decimal point, do this problem writing the houses. Okay? Like I have written, draw the houses and write the houses. Okay, and below that 13 in the house of 1 by hundreds, draw a line, and below that write the tight form. Okay, now that last thing which you have written, how will you write it? What will you write in the other houses? What is there in the house of ones?
0,
House of tens?
0,
House of hundreds?
0.
Okay, how will you write that using decimal point? 0.13, correct. So now, can you correct what you've done? On the other side, can you correct that? Okay, show that, 0.13. All right, I think we'll take a break at this stage. We are beginning to understand how to do decimal fraction additions. It's just like the addition of integers. Next time we will do a bit of revision and we will also do subtraction. But are you beginning to understand now how it is? It's nothing different from the addition of integers. You just have to keep track of the houses. And maybe what we will do, we will always write the houses until we are comfortable with writing with houses, and then we will write it without the houses using decimal point. Okay? So thank you, and we will meet again.